everybody. You're listening to WRMN 1410. I just shanghaied the Out to Lunch show. Matt McNeil says, go ahead, Dean, you can take over on my show over here. So I did, and for good reason. We've got a great guest that's going to be joining us in just a few short seconds. And he's running for governor for the state of Illinois. Can you imagine that? So we would like to welcome Mr. Darren Bailey.
God bless
Mr.
you.
Bailey, there are you.
Good to be here. Thank you very much.
We're glad
I'm
you
honored.
made it. All the
It's a
way
beautiful day.
from Southern Illinois you came.
Yeah, so Lisa, our scheduler, she does an amazing job.
Oh,
So
she
when
does.
people reach out, she puts it. So we actually came from Moline this morning. We were over there last night at an event, and we had several meetings throughout the day yesterday, and some meetings already this morning, and we'll have meetings again this afternoon. So that's what it's all about, just getting out there and getting the word out and being real with people and letting them know who I am and letting them ask questions. So
I love hearing that. And I'm going to tell you, when, we called, but, first of all, let me go through one thing. We have to address, because I don't want people to think that we're not going to address things. You had a tragic event that happened in your family. And it's terrible. And our heartfelt sympathies to you for the loss of your family. I mean, you lost your son, Zachary, and I imagine daughter-in-law, she was more like a daughter to you.
yes,
Kelsey, and then a granddaughter at 12, Veda Rose,
yes.
and then Samuel at 7. I can't begin. As a grandfather, father, I can't imagine the emotions that you have to be still feeling. This is not something you're over like an election. This is some serious stuff.
Right.
And we share a belief, our faith is strong. And we know that, you know what, this is for a reason and there's more to this.
Right.
But boy, oh boy, you're sure being tempted.
Well, and I'm glad you brought the faith.
I hope you don't
aspect
mind
up.
bringing
No.
it up.
I'm glad you brought that up because I'm here to tell you how anyone gets by without a faith in your Creator. I have no idea, because that's the hope that Cindy and I cling to. That's the hope that we hang on to. That's the hope that we are assured of, that they are truly at home. We know that, and we feel confident about that. So
Amen.
We're left with their middle son, Finn, 10 years old. So we have custody of him. We're raising him. So that's provided a whole new dynamic as well. But we're blessed. Our church family, our direct family, our friends, we have a lot of wonderful, amazing support. So we're thankful to God for that. And life's not easy. And I've always said adversity makes us stronger. This is one thing that I've prayed for all of my life, that I would outlive my children and my grandchildren. But we're not assured of what will happen, and we make the best. And after that, so that's what we're doing.
Well, God bless you. I mean, I can't even fathom getting through such a situation. But I'm glad that your faith has stayed strong. And that your mind is where it belongs.
Thank you.
God bless you. So you're good. So then you have this big decision to make with this aftermath. You had the crash, and then you had the funeral to deal with. And so was it a hard decision to say, you know what, I'm going to still pursue this? How'd you come to those?
So I'm a late entrant to the race. I really had no intention on running at all. And gosh, this last 3 months has literally been a blur since the accident. But prior to that, there was this time, and I need to go back and look at my diary and see what the date was. But it was a Sunday morning, and I was up at 2:30 and able to sleep. And I just went to my office and I read and I pray and I study. And then my wife came into my office at about 5 a.m. and said, "Darren, what's going on?" And I told her, I said, "Cindy, I can't get this feeling. I think we need to run. I don't know what this looks like. I love it here on the farm, and I think we need to throw our hat in the ring and give this another round, because I know these other people who are running, they're good people, but nobody's battle tested for Springfield, for the lobbyists, for the games, for the junk, for the drama that comes at them." I said,
and you're a former state representative.
And a state senator.
2019 to 21, and senator 21 to 23. You've got the experience.
Right, and and I know how the game's played. So that we kind of put that on the back burner on Sunday. That next week, it just, the phone began to blow up exponentially. It's crazy. I said nothing to anyone, and people began to call and suggest that I run. We prayed, we fasted about it. We decided this is what we need to do. Then the tragedy hit. and things just, again, since it was out in Montana, I was speaking at an event in Freeport, Illinois, when we got the call. So Freeport was 4 hours north of our home, but it was still 14 hours away from the from Montana, where the accident took place at. So it just, everything's been kind of a blur, but thank goodness to our friends, our family, our team that made things so easy. That the outpouring was amazing. So there never really things were just happening, and we were still catching up just with our hearts and our emotions. And it really, the point came when things began to settle down, and Cindy and I we're not quitters. We believe this is a calling. We still have 11 grandchildren, and now more on the way. And
Great.
we know that our calling is to do whatever we can to make the future better for our children, our grandchildren, and the next generation coming up. So we knew that this was a test and this adversity, and what do we do with it? And we knew that I've talked to a lot of people about it, but we knew deep down that we had to continue. We knew that Zach, our son, and our daughter-in-law would want us to continue.
Well, he was
on.
helpful with your campaign.
So
I believe he used
did.
the helicopter to do quite a bit of promoting.
And then during that time of being able to crack into his computer, and I'm going to put this out there right now, just to make life easier for people. Go buy some life insurance, just anything. Buy some life insurance, get a will. Just do it. Go to your attorney, draft something up to make things, because Zach had all that, and the way things flowed were amazing. And your passwords to your computer, your credit cards, whatever. Put that somewhere. Go put them in a bank deposit box, a safe. Let somebody know where they're at, because when that day comes, Zach did not have that, and we had to crack that.
Sure.
And upon cracking that and finally opening that up, he was actually exploring the idea of running for state rep or state senate.
Wow.
in the 28 cycle. Now he's our firstborn son, and he wanted to do things his own way without my help. But
How old was your son?
Were 32.
32
So,
years old.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So anyway, we were not aware of that, and it was just amazing and an honor to see that.
That gives you that fight. That gives you all this is falling in place.
That's right.
And again, we're back to faith.
Right.
It's all for a
right.
reason. You feeling that calling, that's real.
Zach was
People don't
37. I'm
understand
sitting
that.
here doing the math in my head. So the days he was 37, not 32.
37.
So,
That's
yeah.
okay. Yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. Yeah, and then I want to again circle back down to the I made the invitation to you, and you were just yes. There was no hesitation. You were like, yes, I'd love to come. And I was like, okay, I'm figuring you're going to Zoom call or we'll get a phone call out of you. And then you said you were coming live to the station. So here you are again, all the way Southern Illinois. You says, no, you were coming. And I remember you telling me more than Chicago votes.
Yes.
And you wanted to be, with all of the voters. And that strikes like a good nerve with me. You're in the sixth largest city right now in the state of Illinois. That's what
Yes.
Elgin is. And we've got a great mayor, Mayor Captain. Sadly, he's not going to go for another term. But this is a man that I've heard him at different services for different people, fundraisers, the Rotary Club. And he always stand up saying that he's here for the voter, no matter what party you
Right.
are. And when you came out with saying those same words, I was like, oh, my God, how much better is that, whether they vote for you or not?
Right.
When you get elected on this, when this is over, if you're so fortunate to do so, you're going to represent everybody.
Yeah, that door will be open. The seat at the table will be there. I think that's one of the things that brought to prominence during COVID when the shutdowns began. I was literally, to my knowledge, for a while, 2 weeks after, to flatten the curve, after that time frame, I think I was the only state office that was open. My wife had encouraged me to go and began doing Facebook Lives in the month of April. And many people that are familiar with me got to know me then, because I really didn't think, as she did, that people are sitting home and watching, TV and Facebook and the news
Yeah, they had to have
because they weren't working.
Something to hang on to.
So as I'm doing these lives, and I began to tell people that, hey, yes, government shut down, but I'm still here. My office became flooded with phone calls, and I would get calls from growing men with restaurants and grocery stores and businesses, and they're I've got perishable items. What do I do with these? And it was that time frame that I began to realize, yeah, what do they do with these? Because there's no help being offered, and they've still got to pay their mortgage, their rent, their utility bills. So that's when I really picked the ball up and began to realize, hey, if government, the state government isn't going to step up, somebody has to. And I realized that I took advantage of that and opened the door for many people to realize that nobody's shutting you down. Government cannot do that. You open your doors back up, just get back to work, and common sense, do the right thing. So,
well, and that's just it. And there again, your philosophy that you're here for all the voters, and that's what you did.
We have to be.
You went into action.
I'm running on the Republican ticket. No. There's no joke about it, but that the supermajority in Springfield is Democrat. But I will challenge anyone to go ask their state rep or their state senator, especially up here in Chicagoland, ask them about me, and I will bet to say that most, if not all, will say yes. I don't agree with Darren, but I have respect for him. So it is that I intend to use to be able to bring everyone to the table, because obviously, 7 years later, things are not going well for us in Illinois. So I think everyone can agree on that.
Yeah,
and we need a different.
I was going to ask you, what's
the
difference with you running now from the last time? I mean,
yes,
there is a lot of difference.
There is a lot, yes. So upon considering do I run or not, no, I'm not running because I enjoy this. I probably would just as soon be at the farm today and with my family. But I have a passion for the future of Illinois. I have a passion for the future of my grandchildren. So we sat down and we began to look and we began to study, and can we win this? Can we win this? And the answer is yes, we can. Okay, then how do we do this? And then we begin to, obviously, we have 4 years ago to study and look at to see why didn't we win then? And there's a lot of aspects to that. We've got to vote. We've got to get voter turnout. We know that. I come from a very conservative district. I probably didn't realize how different my lifestyle and my upbringing was than the upbringing, up here in the populated areas. So I carried that message a little too hard. So I began to talk with people. What do I do about this? I will not change who I am and what I believe, but and then people began to come with me and come at me and say, Darren, here's the deal. Let's focus on what 80% of Illinoisans have in common, because you focus on that alone, and that really is, that's affordability, that's safety, and that's education. So just stay focused on that and put all this other stuff, push it aside for right now. You can earn people's trust and respect, and we'll work with that later. But let's go to work on the hard stuff of Illinois. So I began to realize that, wow, that is right. So then we also looked at, being here today on the radio station with you. Where do we need to be at? Where were we the last time that we didn't need to be? Where do we need to focus our time and our energy? I've got all that information, and we're putting it to use. We
have sent an invitation. You have the gentleman that runs the National Guard now. His name escapes me, but he's the first African-American to get that top job.
Yes.
And we invited him to the America First Responders Fest, and we wanted to get him to the radio station. But for whatever reason, you got to schedule this, schedule that. It wasn't the response that we got from you. You're here. You're in the Fox River Valley right now. Yes, again, I keep saying it. You're the 6th largest city, and you're at a radio station that's 75 years old.
Yep.
So we have a lot of old-time listeners here.
Well, I'm honored, and that's how I'll govern, and that's how I've governed. That's why I'm here, I believe, because I've been very direct, very transparent, very informational to the people. And I think when we come to them as governor and explain, hey guys, this is how I will be in the toughest parts of the city, wherever it would be tough for a republic, I'll be there. And guys, it can be better, and this is how it can be better.
You want to give your position. Listen. You're not selling a case. You're giving your position.
But to be there at the table to listen. What you tell me what's been wrong and why this isn't working, and
together, how can we stay with your party? Because you're going to stay with yours, so fine. But even on separate parties, that doesn't mean you can't get the job done. Right. And that's one of the biggest problems. And that's why at the bottom of the hour, we're going to have David Tease join us. Does the Fox River Valley. He's on the Republican side as well, just so happens. And then our own Dennis Green, who's got Apolitical Talk Show. They're going to have some questions for you, too.
All right.
But his concept is, again, the same thing. He is here to represent all the citizens, all the residents of this community, no matter who you, and there's some that don't even vote. There's people, and they're benefiting from all the programs that you're busting your butt to make work for everybody.
Right. Yep.
So this is not a, a thankless job a lot of times.
No, that's exactly right. I spent 17 years on the our local school board several years ago, and that was a good training ground to get broken into, because ultimately the reason why you're there is for our children, for our future. So it forces you to, you've got to listen every time a parent comes in and has a problem. You just don't push anyone aside. You listen, and then you have a conversation with them to, okay, how can we rectify this and fix this? And
it's rooted somewhere in that big long dissertation they're giving you. There's something in there.
Yes,
even though it's a biased, but it's definitely there if you listen.
Everyone's has but collectively, we have more that we have in common than we disagree on as Americans. And if we, this divide that exists right now, and especially in Illinois, and it does exist nationwide, but really right here in Illinois, this is what is destroying us, and it's what's going to just continue to drain this state if we allow it.
I think it's repairable.
It is.
If you get the right person
I would not
in
be
there,
running if I didn't think that we couldn't have a serious impact.
And you're going to do the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. I hate calling it DOGE. You know what I mean? Just like with everybody talks about Trump this and Biden that.
Yeah,
you know what?
I love that.
Like it or don't like it, he's the president, President Trump, and former President Joe Biden, or Mr. Biden, Joe Biden. I argue with the guys here all the time.
We respect.
We respect the office, right?
Yep.
But you're going to do this, which I'm all for, done properly, of course.
Right.
Because the amount of waste that has gone on, and you've had to see it as a state rep and a senator.
Well, that's why I'm here. I'm here because 2017 they passed the 2018 budget, and my representative voted in favor of that and allowed for a 32% tax increase. Now, a lot of people don't realize in 2017 the state budget was at $32 billion. You add the 32% to that. That bumped it up to $34 billion. Today, many people have no idea that it sets at $57 billion. And already, without doing anything, we are aware that in the last 5 years, there's been $22 billion of complete waste that's just gone by the wayside. We've seen people who are here illegally. We've seen them funded at $2.5 billion, aside all the problems that residents of this state, the homeless, the veterans, everyone has. And the money's there. Everyone asks, okay, if you're going to start cutting, the money resides within what we're already operating with if we spend it efficiently. When I was a state senator, a couple of state representatives began to look at calling for a forensic audit. They were told immediately by even Republican staff, oh, you can't do that because to do a forensic audit on our budget will take about 6 years and it'll cost about $12 million. Wow. And we just can't do that. Those days are over with. That budget will have to. People want to know that. They want to know where the money's coming from. They want to know where. We were told that okay, let's bring in gambling and all of our problems are going to be fixed with our schools. Let's bring in recreational marijuana and again, many years later, it's going to go to the schools and the roads and everything's going to be fine. Nothing is fine in Illinois. The money and people don't realize that the governor's office has kind of control of the purse strings, so the governor can push money around wherever they so choose. And unfortunately, our current governor has made a lot of bad decisions, pushing more and more money without any accountability to the point now that we have no idea where it's at. I think people want to know where it's at, and we will expose where it's at, and we will bring that 5,000 page budget to a point where people can see where that money's at, and then where we see and know there's fraud, we will root it out, call it into account, and become efficient with it. We must. Any business owner sitting out there, your budget for this radio station, everyone, we have to do that.
Yes, you do. And you even, like you said, more than Chicago votes. You're in an area where these people are passionate, and they're out there. They're voters. They get out and get behind this.
Well, I'll tell you what, making some calls the last several weeks and several months, calling in to making cold calls to potential donors in Chicago. They're talking to me. Before, I think they were a little leery of me because of some of the things that I stand for, some of the people I'm associated with. and maybe they heard my Southern dialect and they'd hang up on me. That's not happening. People are having a conversation. They agree that it's costing too much. Property taxes are too much. Energy is costing too much. That, safety on our streets, we need to be focused on that. Somebody putting a young lady on fire on the CTA who's been released over 7
and didn't
times.
the CTA just get money? Did they just get more money?
$1.5 billion that was taken out of the so-called so much needed gas tax hike. Again, the governor is able to reappropriate and push money around. We're better than that.
Even the gas. We don't feel, we right now should be clicking our heels that, man, the fuel cost is so low.
Right. It's $1.81 at Davenport, Iowa this
there
morning.
You go.
We came from Moline.
We don't feel that here
nuts.
Because of all the county and city taxes that they put here.
An automatic increase now every
City of
6
Chicago
months.
just had that big thing with the budget.
Right.
And, I don't even try to think I could understand Chicago politics.
Right.
But you had the mayor, he didn't take a position.
Right.
At least right or wrong, pick a side.
It's failed
Yeah,
leadership.
pick a horse.
People, we deserve better than this. We deserve.
I don't know about
we
that.
We deserve some good leadership. People who'll come in.
I don't know enough about him, so I'm not throwing big stones, and he doesn't affect
you're
what
right,
we
though.
do here.
It's
but it's like
obvious.
when I heard that, it was like, and then I gave a lot of credit to the what do they call them, councilmen and women that redid the budget and said, hey, look, here's how we could do it.
You are correct.
And then he didn't want to do
So there are people out there that care.
He wants to attack the
point.
rich.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're a billionaire too. So it was the battle of the billionaires. Isn't that what they were trying to coin the last election?
Oh, yeah. So you want to destroy Illinois? Let's push all of our corporations and our job creators out of
And
here.
you've never made your wealth, your accomplishments and your achievements and your business. You're a successful business.
Well, I'm a farmer, farmer, and have a trucking business and everything. We keep building it, and the government keeps wanting to make it harder and take that away. So that mindset is probably the initial purpose of me getting involved with the government, because you've heard it before. If you're going to gripe about it, you do something about it. So at least vote. But if you have that calling on your heart to run, get involved, and speak up and make a difference, and that's why I'm here.
Exactly. And you know what? I invite Governor Pritzker. Come on. I'd love to have you on. But, I want to ask you, do you think that we're leaving the state of Illinois better than we found it?
No, it's a disaster. As I said before, $37 billion budget when I started, now a $57 billion budget, and we have absolutely nothing to point at to be proud of except excess spending, excess waste, people leaving the state. You can't even prove the accurate number of people leaving the state because of the people who are here illegally. A lot of people don't realize they go get their driver's license, they're registered to vote. So our government can look, there's no mass exodus because it's kind of the same. It's a disaster. And 4 more years of this will sink our ship.
We're going to have to take a break at the bottom of the hour. We have been talking with the Gubernatorial. Did I say that right?
You did. You hit it right. Said it better than I could.
How you like that? Darren Bailey is in the studio here live, right here at WRMN 1410. Don't go away. When we come back, we're going to have our political contributor, David Tease, and he's got his own show, Dennis Sonar Green, and we're going to talk some more with this soon-to-be governor if all goes right. Right here,
Love
WRMN.
It. Thank you.
So stay with us, everybody, and stay tuned. More to come. Hey, what a nice afternoon to spend right here at WRMN 1410 Live. We're live in Studio 14 with gubernatorial candidate Darren Bailey. But Mr. Bailey is also joined right now with our apolitical talk show host. That would be Dennis Sonar Green. And we got Mr. David Tease, I would say political contributor. And Dave, what are you with the district right now?
Right now, I am actually the chairman of the Elgin Township Republican Committee Council.
Oh, nice. You got a promotion. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I knew you were involved, but again, your involvement, once again, has been very parallel to Mr. Bailey here and Mayor Captain about you want to represent all these voters. You want to help everybody that lives here. Mm-hmm. This ain't about your party, my party. Right. This is about all the parties, right?
Yeah, exactly. We all come together.
Excellent. So, Dennis, I know you were just dying to have some. This is your thing.
No, thank you very much for coming in. I really appreciate
No,
that.
this is an honor. I love that. I love
Our
the
pleasure
studio.
and
Thank
our,
you.
believe me, a
Thank you.
privilege for you to be here.
We're trying to get as many candidates in as possible to make sure that communication with everybody is as transparent as possible, right? You want to make sure that line of communication is open. When you are elected, what are you going to do or maintain with that communication with, I guess, with the whole state?
I think that's what's lacking. I hear that a lot, that people don't understand government. And they don't understand government because many of the elected officials have convinced the people that, well, they show up to Springfield to pass laws. The purpose of a state representative or a state senator is to represent the people in government. So I want to tell you right now, if there's anyone out there that you're wrestling with maybe you've got a letter from whatever, Illinois Department of Revenue or DCFS, don't spend hours on the phone, as we experience sometimes. Call your state representative, call your state senator, and ask for help, because that is the entire purpose of serving in government.
Is that usually what you recommend? Is almost like an elected official chain of command? Start out locally to maybe your alderman or your city council with something, and then work your way up.
I served on the school board for 17 years, and parents would get mad, and they'd come and show up at a school board meeting, or which they're welcome. I always welcomed people.
And then yell at you about what a senator did.
Yes, that's right. But I'd ask them. I said, what's the teacher say about this? Well, I didn't talk to the teacher. Well, you go back, talk to the teacher, and you're probably going to get it fixed then. And if not, talk to the principal, because and it's the same way with government. And I think that if people spend a little more time doing that, they'd probably become a lot more furious about government than they are, because they will truly begin to understand the inner workings, and especially what I've seen the past several years, which is essentially the failure of government. So yes, please get involved, and thank you for being involved locally. And
if people want to reach you, I think it's important. It's on your sign behind you. It's Bailey, Bailey for Illinois.com. Is that right? So
BaileyforIllinois.com.
yeah,
Thank
there
you.
you go. So because, I'm sure people have a lot of questions, and that's the best way for them to reach you. And
It is, and that's the way. Like I said, Lisa's here today. She's my scheduler. We have two very important sites on there. If people want to request me to be somewhere, they go on there and they fill that out. And if people want to be involved with our campaign, if they want signs, there's another place to put that on. So most of when we show up in particular areas, people say, "Well, why are you here?" It's all because I got asked, and Lisa's the one that puts that together, and that's what determines what our days and weeks and months look like. And we like to stay busy. We like to stay on the road. We like to get out and get the message out.
And that's usually the key, isn't it, Dave? Getting not necessarily the boots on the ground, but being out there face to face. We've seen that when you can actually talk with somebody and shake their hand and look them in the eye and ask them a question, it's usually a little bit better for the candidate and the voter.
Right, yeah. Unfortunately, with him, he's got a lot of ground to cover, the whole entire state of Illinois.
But I'll tell you what, as a state representative and a state senator, this is where I really began to, even down in southeast Illinois, Conservativeville, USA, people would call me, and they would be upset, really upset, over some of my stances, and we'd talk, and they were, it helps a lot just listening to them. But most of the time, I'd say, "Hey, let's meet. Come up here to my office. I'll come down into your community to the local restaurant. Let's sit and let's talk." And I am going to say 100% of the time, when that conversation was over, we may not have agreed with each other, but the fact that we were able to have dialogue and understand a little, that, and
your perspective.
Their concerns
This is what
stuck
it's
with
about.
me. They knew that they were being heard, and that, again, in and of itself, is the failure. People aren't voting because they don't think their vote matters. They think the system's rigged. They think that, whatever. And they're rebelling against the system and staying home. Friends, please save this republic and get out and vote. This is how this whole system was created. Your voice does indeed matter.
Is that what we've seen? Is that what you've seen so far in the voter side of things, where we've already kind of picked our camps, right? Everybody's kind of already tribalized. There might be a couple people that are undecided, but really it's a war between the couch and the voter booth, right?
I love that.
At this point.
That's good. No, it is.
Because I got Netflix at the couch.
Yep.
I can watch Stranger Things
No,
over
it
there,
is.
right?
And like I said, they're thumbing their noses, thinking, "Hey, government's a joke. I'm not going to get out there and vote." Get to know who you're. I'll venture to say right now, as I'm talking to people, I bet 60-70% of the people listening, if I ask who's your state rep, who's your state senator, they have no idea. 90% of the time, they'll throw out of the name, and it's usually a congressperson. And most of the time, that's not even right. You can go to Illinois, ilga.gov. That's the Illinois General Assembly webpage, and it's actually a good page. You go down to the bottom, legislator look up, click that in, type your address in, and you'll find out who all of your elected officials are. And it's very important to just begin dialogue. Start listening to what your elected official is saying, what they're doing, and figure out if you agree with them. If you do, encourage them. If you don't, show up to their office, give them a phone call to the office, politely help them understand why your views are different. And I think if we begin this course of action, I think that we can come together as Illinoisans and get this state back on the right track.
Dave, it's so much easier just to tweet from the house.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you just sit on the couch and watch some Netflix and talk to you.
But it's worth it, right? It's worth it.
It is. Yeah, everybody really likes it when a candidate running for governor, state rep, anything, mayor, reaches out and talks with them and listens to what they have to say, because it means a lot to them that somebody's listening.
Yeah.
And the fact that you're listening to us, you came here to Elgin. I am really impressed the fact that you're here live in our studio, and because you wanted to hear, the people out this way. You didn't start in Chicago. You're starting in the collar counties or whatever you want to call it
That's
first.
good. And that's who we are. If you
And
see us at
you are a simple individual. No,
I'm not that common. I am you.
There
Right.
you go, comment.
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say. But you are. You're very simple in your approach. You're so darn easy to talk to.
Well, thank you.
You are. You're sincere. If they don't like your accent,
I can't
I got
change
a
it, and it didn't
Chicago
come from
accent.
anywhere else. Yeah, that's what people tell me. Your
Okay.
accent's weird. I'm like, well, I don't know. Yours might be weird.
I tell you what, it's comforting.
Yeah, thank
Because
you.
what you're saying is, I just hope that the follow through is going to be there. Like sanctuary state status. Is this going to stay as if you're
No, it
governor?
can't. So, and I want to make sure everyone understands the follow through. Look my history up. I have never wavered. If I've said that I'm going to do something, I did it. If I said I've never had to go back and say, gosh, I'm sorry. I said I was going to vote against this, but I ended up, and I never did, because a state government is so messed up, I didn't have to worry about that. But if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something. So I think very importantly, what takes place literally the first 10 days, not the first 100, the first 10 days, I hope will bring just a renewal of trust in government, because I'm telling people, the state agencies have to be stripped down. They've got to be stripped down. We've got to find out who's not doing their jobs, whether that's the Department of Education, DCFS, this sanctuary state policy right now. Because of some of this policy, we're missing out on federal funds, and because of our government's refusal to even sign a piece of paper on an agreement with DC, we're missing out on stuff, and there is no reason whatsoever to be
That's that
missing out
party
on
line.
some of these funds. That's
They're
right.
not even listening and coming to the table.
It's not right.
Oh, you're that party? I don't want to hear it.
If I was
That's
governor
ridiculous.
and President Biden was in the office, I'd be working with him. I mean,
Why wouldn't
these
you?
walls that are going up are wrong, and they need to stop. I will work with whoever is president of the United States.
God bless you.
I
That's
will
the way
work with
to be.
whoever is Speaker of the House, whoever is president of the Senate. We will have dialogue. And if we can't get that dialogue, guess what? I'm going to come to the air to the people. I'm going to tell them what's going on, that, hey, we're trying to do something. Does this make sense to you or not? I'm having trouble. Go again. Talk to your state rep, your state senate, and let's get the ball rolling here.
Excellent.
And how does it help knowing all of the different inner workings of I guess just the workflow, not just the schoolhouse rock, how a bill becomes law, but your knowledge of the inner workings of how policy becomes law and becomes to fruition. How does that help you kind of position yourself for this office?
I think it's vitally important. And that was probably one of the, I was a late entrant into the race. I was not going to run, and when I looked at the field, I know everybody else. I'm friends with them, but I just wasn't satisfied with the pressures that I knew were going to come against them, with the knowledge that I had that they didn't, that we can actually get something done. So no, it's very, I think it's very important to have the knowledge of the inner workings as I have, to be able to actually make something happen. It's not going to be easy. I'm not going to stand here and tell you that we're going to get this done, we're going to get that done, but I'm going to lay the principle out, and then we're going to get that system to begin to work for the people. And I think will be the beauty of me serving in the State House.
It's refreshing to hear about rebuilding the system instead of about you turning around and saying, I'm the one who can fix everything.
Right.
We don't need any more strongmen and politicians.
Thank you. If you hear that, you better back up and look again, because it is not possible. When I was in high school in FFA, I went to state with our parliamentary procedure contest as the chairperson. And I wasn't a very avid reader in high school, but for some silly reason, I read Robert's Rules of Orders because my cousin was also vying for that position. It's a 200-page book. I don't know that I've ever read a book faster, because they were favoring her because she was a state FFA officer. And we had a contest between the two of us, and I won it. And so it's been a long time ago, but going into Springfield in 2019, I thought, hey, I still retain this, serving on the school board. I still retain the Robert's Rules of Orders, and I'm going to go in there and teach these guys a few things. Day one, I was given a 92-page booklet, Rules of the House. Oh. And underneath every paragraph was, the majority makes the decision. There were no rules. They get changed, and that is nonsense as well. So the inner workings they're a farce, and they do not represent nor serve the people well. That needs to change.
How can we control the levers of power if they're constantly changing?
Knowledge. I come and I will educate the people. I will put them to work, Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever. They will go and engage with their state legislators, and who knows? They may be like I did, starting griping on Facebook, and all of a sudden you're running for a state office. Yeah. So that's where real change can come from.
As soon as I know the answers, they change the questions, right?
Exactly.
Yes. Right. That's good.
The story of my life. What do you think, David?
Well, one of the questions I have for Darren here, since 10 years ago, we've had a lot of new revenue coming into the state of Illinois, and being a taxpayer, you think that this is going to help us, like with legalized video poker machines, legalized marijuana, with all that revenue, and now you got legalized sports betting, which is a $52 billion a year industry. With all this new revenue coming in over the last 10 years, and having a total of about 420,000 people moving out of the state of Illinois, and we're still financially broke with all this new revenue. Is it as a taxpayer, is this because people are leaving, we got to make up the difference instead of being ahead? Or is this just where's the money going? I mean, every time we turn around, there's bailouts here or wasteful spending, and where's getting the blunt of it all, because our taxes are going up.
Right. So thank you for asking that. That's a good question. The last few days, I've rolled out our Department of Government Efficiency that we're going to be putting in action, and we can do that. The governor's office is going to take a lot of work, and is going to involve a lot of people to really show people where the money's coming from, where it's going. Businesses leaving. So how do we fix this? Everybody, when I talk about cutting taxes or pulling things back, everybody, well, where's the money going to come from? Well, that waste that is found in our budget is going to take care of a lot for the near term. But then when we begin to create a business and a family-friendly environment in Illinois, guess what? We're going to attract people. They need to be in Illinois. It's the heartland, right in the middle. We're beautifully positioned, rivers and roads and rails. It's perfect. So we create this business-friendly environment. We get people coming back. They go to work. They start churning the economy. Tax dollars start coming in. I'm a little concerned. I will prove this as governor, but the exodus has been much more than 400,000 plus people, because this illegal immigration situation has created a problem in that here in Illinois, they can go and get their driver's license, and when they get their driver's license, they are registered to vote. I've seen it firsthand. So therein creates how many people are here. I will contend that Illinoisans, hardworking families, have left, much more to the extent of the 400,000 that is actually being reported. And the truth and the proof of that is in any business that you go into, they're hurting for help, they're needing help, and the help's not there like it was 2, 3, 4 years ago because the people are gone.
And it's not just the majors that you're seeing either for some of the exodus too. Not just people leaving the cities and then maybe going out to the Hampshire or Gilbert's or any of the other maybe even skirt type of Chicagoland side of it. We're seeing people actually leave the entire state to go there. Right. And do you think that is less or more about policies in the state, or more about people maybe wanting to go to maybe their flavor of politics?
It's about putting food on the table.
Fair enough.
Really is, period.
Fair
Property taxes are killing us. Energy, my goodness. Here in the ComEd market, I think in the next month or two, you're going to see another spike. We've already seen the full impact of that in the Ameren, the MISO part of southern Illinois. And for anybody like myself who lives out in the rural electric part, we're going to be seeing that in about a month from now when these contracts come due. The state simply didn't bargain enough for electricity. When I got elected in 2018, we were a net exporter of energy. Today, we are a net importer. So when these deals finally fall out, run up, and we need more energy, then they have to go out to the open market and buy it. And that's why these energy rates have spiked so much. So just everywhere you turn, like we talked about earlier, going across the state line, I was at Moline, and I could see across the river the great big giant signs for, gas was 50, 60 cents cheaper. That lures people over there. It's just a disastrous climate here in Illinois, and I think that when we fix that, and make our streets safer, when we fix our schools and start teaching by the state's own standards, Illinois State Board of Education, 70+% of our children graduating high school on average across the state cannot read, write, and do math at grade level. Now, that tells us everything that we need to know about our future. They can go to college anywhere outside of the state for much less than what they can go here. And when that happens, they stay there and find a job. So we have got a lot of work to do, but I believe that it is the financial burden of taxes on families of Illinois that's what I hear all the time.
And to bring up energy, because I've got a few of the village presidents that have come and talked to me about solar. There's a lot of different cutouts for solar annexation for things, and where I've heard from people is, or from these leaders, is that a solar plant can come in and say, we're going to take this regardless of whatever the municipality's plan or anything like that comes in. Do you still plan on kind of leaving some of these cutouts for some of these programs to kind of get more energy or to bring some of these prices down? Are you okay with maybe cutting out a couple of these regulations, or are you saying, look, you have to play in the same sandbox with the same rules as everybody? What is your philosophy on got to get it done versus playing by the rules that are already established?
Yep. So as far as energy is concerned, and you can see the proof of my debate as a state rep and as a state senator, I'm for local control. So whatever a local municipality, county wants to do, and if you're not satisfied with that, well, then go run for office, and change it. I believe in an all or above energy policy. I see room. I may not like some of the aspects of it. I argued hard against the Green New Deal because they're shutting reliable energy down. People don't realize that the coal, and we've got thousands of years of coal in southern Illinois. They're mining that. They're shipping it out west to Wyoming, where theoretically, if you're seriously concerned about what comes out of the stack, which that smoke that you see is actually vapor, if you're seriously concerned about that, well, guess what? Wyoming power plants are burning our coal, and they're shipping their coal to us because it's got a little lower sulfur content, and we're paying for that.
Yeah, more money
nuts.
too.
And there's the nuclear moratorium. Let's open that back up. I have no problem with that. There is also new technology that I'll actually be rolling out. I've been invited to a facility in Houston, Texas, that is building these boxes, a 3-foot square box. It's kind of a mix between nuclear and hydrogen. I can't really explain it all here, but it puts out the same energy as 1,000 acres of solar panels does,
Wow.
and it's very reliable and it's very safe. They're using it in Australia, they're using it in England. So I think we need to broaden our spectrum, and we must, with data centers coming on board, and if we're going to boost business, we've got to have more energy with natural gas. It's underneath us, but yet all this is on the chopping block over the next few years, and that's part of what has made the the energy spike as well. So we've got some work there. The General Assembly J.B. Pritzker could have called the General Assembly in. There could have been some relief for what's going on, but they decided, no, we don't want to do that. So therefore, families get frustrated and they move out of the state. So
Wow. That's why that number's more than what the census is reporting.
I believe it
Essentially,
is.
yeah.
Now, if somebody's going to say, well, can you prove it? No, I can't yet. But because I hope to be in a position where I have access to all of that we can a year from now.
And that's your Department of Government Efficiency that you're trying to put in.
Yes.
Be
Yeah.
very transparent, you're
Yes.
telling us. True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
I
have
think
to
so.
be.
We're almost to the top of the hour. This hour went fast, did it not?
It did. It's awesome.
Can you, would you promise, I know you're on a tight schedule today, but would you promise to come on back another time?
I love it here.
We'd love
I
to
will.
have you.
Yes, this is good. Anywhere that I can go to get the message to the people, and if you see us walking down the street, if you see us in the gas station, at a restaurant, come over and say hi, introduce yourself, and even if you don't like me, just say hi and tell me you don't like me and tell me why, and let's figure it out. So I have no problem.
you're a good man.
And go to BaileyForIllinois.com, join our movement, our Facebook page and TikTok. That's where you see everything that's going on. And I am a farmer by trade, so if you want to know what's going on, go to our Facebook page, Bailey Family Farm, and you'll see kind of
You see all the
you'll
work.
see what's going on each
And
day.
he's already
So-
getting nice comments on YouTube right now, too.
Hey.
So,
And we also
Awesome.
want to thank Lisa. You know, everybody behind the scenes. We got our Matt's in front of the camera as well and behind the camera. We got guys like David out there for us, right?
Absolutely.
Here at the station, we have so many people that do things behind
Yes.
that makes us be what we are and
Yes.
where we want to go. And I imagine that's the same for you,
It's
Mr.
always
Bailey,
the people,
right?
It's always the people.
Always working
it's
with
that
the
way in
people.
Springfield. It's that way on the farm. It's that way in life, and it's certainly that way in this journey we're on. So.
You got the final word. Tell us what you want to.
Well, I just implore people. The vote turnout is critical. If we don't show up to vote, everything's going to stay the same. So we're running because we believe that there is an avenue to create change. I've changed. Like I said, we know where we need to go, what we need to do. We know what we need to focus on, and that's why we're here today. Thank you so much for having us, and reach out to us and invite us to your radio station, to your community, and we'd love to see you.
Just been talking with the gubernatorial candidate, Darren Bailey, for the state of Illinois. And again, it's BaileyForIllinois.com. Listen, thank you very much for coming on out. We appreciate you spending the time with us over here. Hopefully, we're going to get some more FaceTime with you.
All right.
We loved having
I
you in the
look forward to it.
studio, and it's going to be great. We're going to see you again in here. Everybody listen to WRMN 1410. You can catch this again on the YouTube, which will be posted in just a few,
Couple of minutes.
Few short minutes.
All right.
Thank you very much.